Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast morning show. I'm your host, Adam Blue. Where every weekday, Monday through Friday, usually around 8 a.m. Central, I, Adam Blue, 30 plus year enthusiast of the video game industry. Yeah, we'll talk about the latest video game news, video game happenings, what I've been playing. Maybe I should I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yeah, and what's going on in the gaming industry. Happy Friday, everyone. It is Friday, August 30th, 2024. Ultronymous with the morning birthday operator. Hope it's a smashing one. Yeah, you know what? For some reason, I feel like in general, I'm not excited about my birthday. Like, I kind of don't care. But there's this other thing that I feel and I like it. It's more of where I feel like it's a time because of how people view birthdays universally. I feel like it's a time where I can really just scale back, relax, chill, do what I want, and not feel kind of the pressure of responsibility. It's like and maybe I don't need to at all times. Maybe this is a practice that I can perform over time, so I don't let things, get to me. Is what I'm saying. But because this week has been great with all the video games coming out, I can just sit back, play a bunch of video games, and not feel too bad about it. And it's been a lot of great ones. Uh, and I guess I didn't even think about this. This is technically a birthday stream, and I'm trying to think what were some previous birthdays I had that were video game centric. Um, and that's kind of funny because I can't really think. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I mean, there's more recent ones, but I'll leave this here, this birthday memory, and it's back in, I think it was 1997 when Goldeneye first came out. It was the Goldeneye on N64 was right around my birthday. Like, I want to say it came out, I think maybe the week before my birthday would have been. Anyway, I remember inviting my friends over. I want to say it was Glenn, James. Who else could it have been? I had this other friend, Adam. It could have been Adam. There's because I know there was a total of four of us, even though there was a lot more other people it could have been. But I remember just staying up late in the living room, a bowl of M&Ms with peanuts, bowl of Twizzlers, bowl of Doritos, and we're just playing GoldenEye. Now, this was before, GoldenEye really became something because of its multiplayer. This was just, GoldenEye just came out on N64, and I'm like, hey guys, it's got multiplayer and it's a first-person shooter. Let's do this. And man, we were having so much fun. I remember there was a time where one of the guys we're playing with, he was like getting into the negative deaths, if I remember that correctly, and we were just having fun going around. And that was when we were going around just slapping when the slaps were first a thing. Anyway, that was that was really fun. That was an awesome birthday. And so I think, reflecting back on how awesome of a time that was, I kind of like to do that still, play video games with people if I can. But I think a lot of video games now are made where you can just do it online. So then people just, I think when things were local and you had to go out of your way to meet up, it made it happen more often or something. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so what am I gonna share here? Oh yeah, what else did I want to add? Because birthday. Because the other thing I'm trying to do with these videos, yeah, it's a daily morning show, but it's a lot of it is because I think about video games daily because I really like video games. And so sometimes this is just a means of me getting that out. So a lot of times I like to talk about and reminisce some old times, and then my plan is to, in the descriptions of the YouTube videos, kind of type out a brief summary. And it's also for me to go back in the future, to look at what I've talked about, and for others to get like a snapshot of people talking about gaming during a certain period of time, but without it being like curated news, like more of, okay, I need to hit these topics. I like how I'm organically discovering the news. Anyway, I guess I'm just reflecting because, again, it is my birthday, and I guess I'll tell you guys I am turning 41, which seems so old, so crazy. The cool thing about it, though, is I feel it makes me feel yeah, I feel more confident about myself just because I think in general, I come off a little more immature, younger than I am. So sometimes people in the past, especially people would have a hard time taking me seriously. And it's changed nowadays, I think, because I am a little more confident. So I can present myself with this voice I have that is good on radio or whatever. That's what I get a lot. Like almost once a week at my job, someone is complimenting me on the voice. It's like, man, then I need to leverage that. Um, so that's why I think it's interesting. It's like I love video games so much. I like to talk about it. So I like that I have this, platform that I can do that. Any other sappy stuff I want to get to? Just reflecting on my 41 years. No, it is funny that if I was to take a look back at when I was, I don't know, 11, me at 41, I would be super pumped, super happy. Not a millionaire though. I think I was expecting to be a millionaire. That's the one thing. And then I guess let's see, what's something else that I want to reflect on just because it's my birthday, it's the gaming thing. I don't know. I don't know. Just I'm having a good time. Having a good time. Gonna do some family stuff a little later today. Okay. Yeah, let's look at exophase. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I don't know if you can hear it. My stomach is I'm hungry. So yeah, and I was about to say let's get through this. I can go eat, but later today after I eat, I think my plan is I'm going to stream here on this channel, Blue Gamer, just for a little while, a few hours of just the various games that have come out. I want to I want to get used to streaming when I play because I might as well stream every time I play. It's an easy way for me to get maybe an hour of content a day. Think about it. Because if I'm spending time playing a game, sometimes I will in my day, like especially a weekday, maybe I only spend 30 minutes playing a game. Might as well stream it. Because I like the idea that I'm sharing these experiences anyway. Every time I play a game and I do something cool, it's like, wow, I can't wait for someone else to experience this. Can't wait to tell someone else. So, and that I think it's just another idea to get me used to streaming. We'll see. I think that'd be cool. Oh, Midnight Hatter, good to see you, co-birthday pal, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so yeah, real quick, let's talk about what I've been playing yesterday. So the 29th, these 3 games, Black Myth Wukong, I'm now 10 hours in, still having a lot of fun. It's still one of those games where every day I'm beating at least 1 or 2 bosses. I didn't play as much Black Myth yesterday as I've been playing because 2 things that you see above, I'll get to in a second. But it was more of I jumped into Black Myth, beat a boss that I was having trouble with, and then did I? No, oh no, I beat a new area I was having trouble with, got to a new boss and beat it, and then stopped. Like that's kind of how I do it, where it's like, okay, I will, and I might spend 30 minutes or I might spend an hour. The thing is, it's because Black Myth Wukong, while being really good, for me, it's better in smaller chunks, which I think is fine. And then Gundam Breaker 4, I think 3 hours and 37 minutes is quite a long time considering it kind of came out like Wednesday evening because I'm having way more fun with Gundam Breaker 4 than I thought I would. And I think that just has to do with the at its core, the way the combat customization is set up, the fact that I can have a left and right weapon, so I can choose weapons that complement each other's and have custom combos. So I can play the game like I would play an action game that has a lot of depth. This just doesn't have a lot of depth, but it looks great. It's Gundam. I think because it is Gundam that I'm really liking it. Already got a lot of. Oh yeah, that's right. I used the whip yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, see, it's and I tried to explain this yesterday by calling it like Mario Maker, but for character action games, because that's the thing. It's like it's not super deep. It's not difficult. There are no parrying or there's no like control over the character that is made for a like perfect dodge slash parrying system that then somehow, unless later on there's abilities that do that, but integrated in the main controls of the character, there's not some sort of system like, in Dark Souls or something where, some of these games, or like even Black Myth Wukong, how it has its perfect dodge. Um, but that's okay, and it's because it's not trying to be that, and so what it is it's almost like, okay, here's this, because you're collecting parts of the Gunpla, it's almost like you're just collecting parts to here, show off your Gunpla. The action's the same thing. It's like, here's all these weapons where you can show off and create however you want your combat to be. I hope that explains it. So yeah, by framing the game that way, it makes it really fun to get through. I will say some of the bosses are a little spongy, where I'm like, all right, because it's weird how that was, where I saw a video of someone taking forever on a boss and I did it and it was like nothing. And then I got to a boss that was like taking forever, and it's really just whittling down that health. You know what? Interesting, because last night, right before I was going to bed, going upstairs with the family, we're all getting settled to go upstairs. I was thinking, okay, I think I have time real quick for a mission. And then I purposely decided not to play Gundam Breaker 4 because I'm like, oh, but what if I get to a spongy boss? Then maybe I'm not going to play. Kind of interesting. So along with that, the other game that I've been playing a ton of is Star Wars Outlaws. And, just to continue on this thread of positivity, the Star Wars Outlaws is fantastic. It's doesn't do anything new or revolutionary. It just does all of the open world tropes good. I've heard reviews where people are saying it does everything, but it doesn't do everything good. And I'm like, no, it actually does. The shooting, the actually shooting mechanics of the game, the pulling the left trigger to aim, to shoot, to move around, that is done really well. It's like Division, because it's the same devs, and that's top tier stuff. So shooting, in my opinion, is done very well. Stealth. The stealth is done very well too, because since you have your little buddy Nyx, you can hold down LB. It kind of gives you that like Batman view or whatever, where things are in the environment that Nyx can go in. And so that's like, okay, I have this playground. What am I going to do in this area so I can get around these guys, go distract that guy? I've come around to the stealth. I think it's interesting. I do think Star Wars Outlaws does a bad job onboarding the player. It has a fast pace near the beginning, and then the pace slows. But it's interesting because it's in these missions that I've then been seeing, now that I'm past that part, the game is now prompting me to tell me how to do things that I wanted to know back when the tutorial area first introduced the stealth section in the Pikes area, and they weren't fully telling you what you could do. It's very interesting. Because that is the sequence of the game that I had to restart the most. And it's because, like, once you get caught, you have to restart. It's not like I died or anything. And any other part that I would have to restart was usually due to, like, I've noticed, and maybe it's because it's early on, but it's if I'm just running in and, like, I've noticed if I have a mission that I have to sneak into an Imperial, oh man, it's making me think of how fun yesterday was. Because around the world, you'll see these Imperial bases, and it's just so fun. It feels so much like classic Star Wars, or like me playing my Star Wars action figures, sneaking into the Imperial base, taking out stormtroopers, disabling like the cameras, going on the computers, transferring credits, or clearing my wanted. Like, the game is made to feel like you're in the Star Wars world, and it's crazy how well they do it. And I forget if I brought this up yesterday, but there's a sequence that was just like playing Grand Theft Auto, where those little transport carriers that the stormtroopers have, the Empire, they were just like chasing me like they were cop cars, and they were blockading a bridge. So it literally is the open world Star Wars game. Excuse me, we've been wanting. Would I? Oh, and I did. Thank you, Autonomous. Would I? what is something about Star Wars Outlaws that I think they're doing wrong? Uh, and you know what? It's hard to say because the other thing that I think works in its benefit, especially the fatigue that can come with an open world game, is how easy this is just fast travel anywhere. The only time you can't really fast travel is if like you're stuck in a mission. There's sometimes where I'm in an Imperial base and I have to get out, but I'm like in the middle. That took me forever to get there, and I'm surrounded, and I'm like, okay, now I have to try to get out, and I can't warp out. Um, that is the part. It reminds me of Watch Dogs and all that. There's certain things that remind me of some Ubisoft games. Like it should have an option to either refresh that session, like restart me last place I was in that area, or yeah, something. Because again, it is really interesting how this game is intentionally sectioned off to be like, here's an Imperial encampment. You can play it like your own little sandbox. You can, or oh, man, just go. Yeah, and then the way just talking about the game makes me want to play it. They did a good job with Star Wars Outlaws, because I was about to also say the way the ability system works, because it's your relationships with people around the world that also get you upgrades and help you get things. And those are part of the side quest. So everything is so integrated. The story of meeting the characters that also gives you the stuff you need to progress the story, and they're all part of the side quest. So anyway, yeah, I'm gushing a lot about Star Wars Outlaws. It's a great game. Hey, Chris, thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. So yeah, what I'll say is this expectation I've had for this like birthday week of playing good games has worked out, and it makes me very happy about where the gaming industry is anyway. Like in terms of the games coming out, not the coverage. Oh my gosh, like when I have to in the mornings, I do research to kind of do some vague research, maybe follow up some things I'm looking at before. Depends. Where I see there's like, deliberate kind of clickbaity stuff being posted a lot. And a lot of times it's based off of drama, like with Black Myth Wukong and all that. And it's like, man, I hate that that's the conversation a lot. So this is just another PSA. If there's a Forbes contributor talking about drama, they're probably sensationalizing something. Because then when I went to Twitter to kind of look up stuff, the normal people that I like to follow are now just talking about this drama, and it's like, okay, well, I'll move on. So besides that, things like Black Myth Wukong, Gundam Breaker 4, Star Wars Outlaws, all fantastic. So regardless of the drama you're hearing online, you're going to have a fun time with these games. And probably, yeah, just stick with that. Okay, I think that's it for Exophase. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would have played yesterday. I was just stuck on these three. Didn't really get to Castlevania on DS. But yeah, let's look at some other stuff here real quick. This is cool. Speaking of like action figures, because I like collecting action figures, they have these Final Fight characters. And it's interesting. I was hoping I could click and make that screen bigger. What's interesting, and Captain Commando, but I'm really into the Final Fight, 3.75 inch. So it's very interesting to me because I like this scale, but I don't think people care about the scale. But then I see so many things kept being made in the scale, but it's just, I go back to, I think, like Marvel Legends of, let me explain. So like Star Wars Vintage Collection is this scale and it's great, but then they come out with Black Series figures that are better, or that they don't have the 3.75 inch scale of. And so I'm like, and then they had the Marvel Universe line that was 3.75 inch, and then they canceled that. So my whole thought was, okay, I guess people don't like 3.75 inch figures, but then Gundam has a line of figures. We've got these Warhammer figures. Oh, in fact, I got a new one that just got delivered. These Warhammer figures. So, and then, yeah, I'm seeing like these Final Fight figures. So it's like, I guess 3.75 inch is lucrative in some sort of way. So I'm hoping we start seeing that more, because, and then I guess when it comes to 3.75 inch, it's different. Like Mattel has these Jurassic Park toys that are that scale that are done really well. And there's different. There's some that are like really nicely articulated. Then there's the DC and Marvel have started releasing a like 3.75 inch, 4-inch, but they're like more like less articulated and kid-like. So even within the 3.75 inch scale, I find it interesting. Anyway, that's a very obscure topic. Very obscure. I'm just fascinated. Anyway, 113 for the 3 figures. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so X Defiant is on borrowed time. Is that true? Let's see. According to several sources at Ubisoft San Francisco has until the end of Season 3 of X Defiant to improve the game's bleak player numbers. Internally, optimism for the game has shifted primarily due to the game's continuously declining player numbers and lack of player spending. One source told me that the game has been struggling to obtain 20,000 concurrent players across all its platforms, whereas another said Ubisoft would probably be happy with that number, suggesting that it's now much lower. The declining numbers have created tension and anxiety within the team, with sources who spoke to me believing that more layoffs are only a matter of time. Okay, so yeah, a couple things. This person says, I expect this game to show up on Steam soon in an attempt to boost the player base. Number one, very interesting. Ubisoft, Ubi Connect, and then they have their service, and you can use it on like Xbox and PlayStation. But funny that you can't get the game on Steam, and that, like, even as someone that is as much of a gamer as me, it's a very totally obscure concept to launch a Ubisoft launcher. I know it shouldn't be that way. Let me turn that. But I think, and I don't like to complain about launchers, but it would be better if X Defiant was in Steam, even if you had to launch another launcher, because Steam is where you can easily find it. There's so many times where I'm like, what's that Ubisoft game? What's that Ubisoft shooter? Because I don't have anywhere to see it often. It's in the Ubisoft launcher. They need to be on the Steam store. They need to be in my Steam library, so I'm looking at the game, being reminded of it, because it's the type of game that they want players to keep coming back to. So Ubisoft, they're like good at some of that stuff, but they need to put this on Steam. And it is a fun game. I've played it a number of times. And then that's the thing with Call of Duty. You know, there's a lot of marketing going out because of Black Ops 6. In fact, later today is the beta. So with that going on, yeah, that's going to pull more people away. Very interesting. Hopefully they figure that out, because I think it's a good game, and I think there should be a game that is like Call of Duty but different enough. Yeah. All right. Was there something else on here that so some of the drama that I was seeing, but I'm not going to get in the drama, happens to deal with Black Myth Wukong, and if there was an exclusivity deal or not. What it just sounds like in general is there's still some technical challenges with, porting the game to Xbox. And what it also sounded like was Sony paid to get the port completed correctly for PlayStation. So it sounds like it was paid for exclusivity, but it sounds more like Sony's like, hey, this game looks great. We'll pay to make sure it runs on PlayStation, because we see where Xbox has done that, where they're like, what was it? The Capcom games, or the MT framework, bringing up how they want to work at Capcom to get those games to work. It's a smart move. That's probably what's going on. And even if Sony had an exclusivity deal, I mean, that's just the way the business has been working. So, okay. Let's see. So Astrobot embargo lifts September 5th. I cannot wait for that game. And then Space Marine 2 is around the corner. So I have to beat like these 3 games I'm playing right now by then. Oh my God. Okay. Let's jump into news real quick, just to see if there's any of the latest cool news. Banjo-Kazooie N64 has been decompiled, opening the door for PC ports. Interesting. All right. PS5 price hike shows Japan's a low priority for Sony. That's interesting. I think that's just really had to do with the change, the exchange rate of the currency. And because it's, I think it's one of those things, right, where they've already sold as much as they could anyway. Atari CEO wants Infogrames to become the ultimate preservationist publisher. That sounds neat. So let's see what's going on here. Atari's taking a different approach to publishing under the stewardship of CEO Wade Rosen. The company revived the Infogrames label earlier this year to publish a core portfolio of IP associated with the Atari brand, while also developing new collections and sequels. Speaking to game developer about Atari's publishing drive at Gamescom 2024, Rosen said the company hopes to position Infogrames as a preservationist publisher that can acquire franchises from developers who simply don't have the resources or bandwidth to support them anymore. Infogrames is pretty unique in that we had a lot of opportunities coming to us of games or IPs that people wanted to sell because they felt like they shouldn't just disappear, says Rosen, noting that's precisely why it acquired Totally Reliable Delivery Service, Awesome Knots, and Surgeon Simulator. That's neat. Totally Reliable Delivery Service I haven't heard of. But even if it's a small game, there is kind of a thing to having this principle of like, we just don't want the games to disappear. Let's just grab them, have them available. That's pretty neat. Let's see. Any other things I can quickly get out of this? Moving forward, Atari is definitely in the market for more IPs, and it's evident Rosen has a personal shopping list. He explains Atari's rich history in arcades means it's always interested in nabbing vintage morsels from that era. That tallies with the company's decision to nab the rights to 100 classic franchises in one fell swoop last year. That's cool. Let's see. It's always worth having a few moonshots in mind, too. And Rosen said he'd personally love to do something with Ogre Battle, the classic tactical RPG currently owned by Square Enix. I loved Ogre Battle. I know Tactics Ogre. They just put out the remaster, which is basically a port of the PSP game, but love that world. I would love to see us do something with Ogre Battle at some point. He adds, Tactics Ogre is pretty well covered, even if it's not an acquisition. If Square's reading this, that's cool. So it reminds me of what Digital Eclipse has been doing too, where they're taking older games. And then there was, and I think it was done by Infogrames too, that Atari 50, which I have on my wish list. I want to play through it sometime. The Atari 2600, from what I remember, was my first console. And that was when, to me, it was neat, but for me, that wasn't like the future, like game, even as a kid, I was super young then. So I was still like playing with Legos and other toys. But the Atari 2600 had so many good games like River Raid and Pitfall and Grand Prix. Remember that? I mean, there's so many games that even playing ET was crazy for me, as crappy as that was. Like, I remember just being so focused, like, oh my God. Yeah, that was another cool little memory little thing there, considering it's my birthday. So Chris is saying, did you hear about the canceled Spyro X Crash game? Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I was even talking yesterday how they Sony needed to do more with the Crash IP. It's too late. Microsoft has it. They need to do good with it. Oh, Chris, I haven't played X Defiant, but things could change based on COD's performance. Oh yeah, the new COD. You know what? The X Defiant isn't bad. It's actually really well done. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I already have Call of Duty and I have a lot unlocked, and if I'm going to spend time, it's a tough one. I'm curious, Chris, if you play it and what you think. All right, yeah, let's go back. Let's see. Ooh, Visions of Mana developer facing closure. That's too bad. Yeah, that reminds me of Illusions of Mana. That's like the first time I think I've seen something from that series. A little poster back in like, I don't know, Nintendo Power EGM back in the day. Oh, this is kind of neat. Use of conflict-free minerals in games saw improvement in 2023. It's still inhumane how some of these things are getting made, but at least it looks like there's progress in how that's being made. I guess kind of good news to keep in mind. Let's see. Any other? 3 Fallout games are free on Epic right now. Well, let's look. I'm gonna pull up my launcher. I don't know if it won't show up on screen though, but I'm just gonna look real quick to confirm and verify with everybody. Let's see here. So yeah, Fallout collection, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics free now. I probably already have these on Steam, but why not? You know what? It's been fun kind of collecting video games with my Epic account. Like every week or two you can go on and add games. There's been incredible, amazing games I've spent a lot of time with on there. Signy All Guns Blazing, which I haven't played since. Oh my gosh. Good game, but anyway, so that's cool. Just grab that. Anything else? Let's look at this real quick before we end here. When can you play Space Marine 2? Full release times. Okay, this is a good way to end this. Okay. Space Marine 2 release times. Early unlock for PC is September 5th. Dang. So this comes out the same time as Astro's Playroom, or the new Astrobot. So yeah, where I'm at, Texas, so it's 11 a.m. Central on September 5th. Let's see. That's a Thursday. Okay. Yeah, it's next Thursday. Wild. That's so soon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited right now about the games I'm playing. And then we're gonna have Space Marine. Oh my gosh. That's just so much. And Astro's Playroom. I'll do what I can to get these games covered. But no, that's it. Thanks for joining the birthday edition of the Blue Gamer Bluecast morning show. Yeah, it was so fun to talk about the games I've been playing this week for my birthday. And, stay tuned on this channel because I think later I am going to go live and play some games, just chill, play games. So, yeah, have a good rest of the day. We'll talk later. See y'all.